Well, yeah, I actually learned mindful eating in Buddhist meditation monasteries in the East, and then later was very inspired by the development of mindful eating programs in America. Although I've never been to America myself, but I sort of got a modern psychological perspective on my meditative experiences in the East as far as mindful eating is concerned. And then I started teaching mindful eating myself, together with other aspects of secular mindfulness practices.
So when you started teaching mindful eating, what was kind of the problem or the pain that you thought mindful eating might help or cure?
Well, I think that the beginning success of mindful eating in my country is closely connected to the widespread interest right now in the practice of general mindfulness as a stress management technique. Mindfulness is really in. You can even learn basic mindfulness one way or another in fitness center. And in the slipstream of all that, there's a growing curiosity about applying mindfulness to deal with eating problems. And I'm not thinking so much about the formal application of mindful eating to clinical eating disorders, although that work well, but rather here I'm thinking of people in general who want to get a handle on the everyday level of more or less compulsory degrees of overeating that lead to overweight. Almost close to half of the adult population in this country is overweight, and I believe, although it may not be a scientifically validated fact yet, but from my clinical experience, the modern epidemic proportion of overweight and obesity is mostly caused by stress eating, that is, emotional eating to mitigate stress caused by the hardships of this type of hectic society. Well, to begin with, this type of stressful society we're living in, potentially stressful society, is just a perfect arena for applying a little bit of mindfulness on any level. And when people take mindfulness to the dinner table, something wonderful happens. You enjoy much more the sensuousness of eating because you are, on a moment-to-moment basis, more aware of your pleasure. And for this reason, you naturally eat less because awareness of the totality of sensuous impressions of eating is a precondition for becoming full in a more satisfying way that prevents the compulsive need for going on eating when you're no longer hungry. So if overeating are your problems, then for once you are mindfully eating your stress down without overeating and without gaining weight, without deprivation or calorie counting, but just by applying mindful presence to enjoying and understanding the pleasure of eating. Probably the main problem of overeating and overweight and obesity is stress eating. So what you become aware of from the beginning of your mindfulness practice is, of course, all the anxiety and pain and stress that is in your life, and that's where mindful eating really begins. When you start dealing with this, when you start relating to this instead of reacting automatically on it, and the first basic step is to slow down, so you can be aware of what is happening in your eating or what's going on in your mind. And on the outset, that may be unpleasant, but that needs your attention and needs your relating instead of just reacting, which we do when we misuse food to calm down our negative emotions, to calm down our negative emotions,
There's so much compassion compassion in that paragraph of relating back to that unpleasant experience, and I hear
Yeah.
that compassion, and I, for me, it just stimulates so much. That's really my heart space, to hear my chattery mind kind of going "Burp, burp, 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 burp," and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
bringing that compassion to it and realizing, oh, that's what's present. You're chattering, Migrid. It's okay. That's what's present. Now let the chatter go and taste the bite.
Mm.
And that process of recognizing, being with the chatter, not judging it, good or bad, right or wrong,
Mm.
just being with it, it's present.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's so much compassion in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
There's compassion and mindfulness, and just being in the present moment.
yeah, and the present moment isn't always pleasant, which I think sometimes mindful eating is really billed out as being this rainbows and butterflies and everything tastes great. What do you do when it's not?
No, but there's understanding, when you're present with whatever is in the present moment, there's understanding, there's opportunity for insight and understanding. And part of this understanding is and a dimension in this understanding is empathy, to empathize also with our own emotions, not only other people's emotions, but also our own problems and difficulties in that moment.
So that insight that you're talking about, this connection, this awareness that, oh, I've got a chattery mind, or oh, I've got some unpleasant experiences, this awareness generates the insight that you're saying a daily meditation practice can really guide us, remind us, this is the problem and this isn't the problem. This
Yeah.
is the issue. This isn't
Mhm.
the issue.
What we usually need, that is concentration. I mean, mindfulness on the surface is something we all know how to. We all know how to be mindful, but, but very often we are not able to be it for sustained periods of time. We need concentration to anchor our attention. And the most effective way to develop concentration, that is actually meditation, for instance, especially breathing meditation. It's so
Mm.
simple and it's very effective. Scientifically validated as the most effective stress management technique. Well, first of all, I believe that the center is definitely a lighthouse for mindful eating, because and an inspiration for the outspread of general mindfulness in our time. And I think that the center should be much more actively involved in various national health programs, for instance, to teach kids in schools mindful eating in order to prevent the problems of eating and overweight and obesity.
Tell me
Yeah.
how mindful eating in schools, what would that look like? What would be our role? Just
Within 15 or 20 years, uh, there's so much research going on in the effect of mindfulness on kids in schools. They learn more. They experience less bullying. They are happier. Attending school and so on. And part of you could imagine the school day start with 1 hour of mindfulness practices like breathing meditation, which is a basis, and then you could learn in the context of that about mindful eating. That
yeah,
should be we should start with this in primary school. Having
right.
to develop concentration, we demand of the children, of the kids, to be concentrated, but we don't teach them how to be concentrated, how to develop concentration. It's a great paradox.